a couple of things that we're definitely going to go over with you guys. First and foremost, if you have not checked in, please do so. I see that we have several agencies still not checked in at this point or not on the phone yet. So I want to make sure that we have everybody accounted for on the webinar. So one of the first things that we're going to discuss is the Security and Privacy Controls Questionnaire that you guys probably received from Levi from our office. And it's actually in the downloadable file, but don't download it. The good news is don't do anything with that at this point. And we're still trying to get clarification from DHS if this is really necessary for the CBOs to complete. And I should have that clarification, either if not by the end of the day today, by tomorrow. So I will send you out an email related to that specific document. So at this time, please do not complete that document. Hold on to it. You don't even worry about downloading it in the file exchange. We will give you further guidance in the near future related to that. And like I said, we're keeping our fingers crossed that that's something that you guys don't have to do. You're not getting direct access into their IES system. You're getting access through our portal through WorkNet. So I'm venturing to say that that's something that you won't have to do, but I will clarify that by tomorrow for sure. So if anybody has any questions on that, like, please feel free to, put them in the pod. And if you've started it, just table it for now. So the next thing, the CBO in-person meeting, we are canceling that for the 28th. What we're looking at is getting an individual who has experience working with TANF and SNAP, and we're trying to get them to come in to do a session. It would be a whole day session, not only with the CBO career navigators, but also with the DHS EPIC staff that are working with this. This individual checked all of the boxes that we need related to content. Some of the things that we're hearing from the field is, the referrals, and the referrals are not necessarily, the appropriate referrals to the appropriate agencies in all times. We're having issues with clients even going to the CBOs, and then, keeping these clients engaged and going into the training programs and also going into the work experience and all of your modules. So what we want to do is we want to do a full day session with this individual. We're hoping it will be, she has some openings in October, so we're hoping it's going to be sometime towards the mid to late of October, probably late October. And probably once again we're looking at a Wednesday for this because that will help facilitate the DHS caseworkers to also participate. But we think this will be a great opportunity to get some real good content on client management, and it'll be a great opportunity for the DHS caseworkers and the CBO career navigators to be on the same page and hear the same information, and to also have an opportunity to network between those two. The bad news is that we will do this for all CBOs. It's not bad news, it's great news, but we will, the CBOs that are outside of Chicago, this isn't a session that we would like for you guys to attend to, so we will work with you guys and facilitate that and make sure that we can get lodging and everything available for that also. But there will be more information on that here in the near future with that. So with that said, I'm going to turn it over to Natasha for the Worksite Placement demo and updates.
Okay. I'm going to move my screen over so that you can see information. So you should be able to see my screen. I can zoom in a little bit here. Maybe. There we go. Okay, last week what we talked about was the Worksite Placement, and that will be pushed out to production tomorrow. So just so that just remember the first thing to do is add an employer, so you can put a new employer or you can select from an existing employer. Then you add work sites based on that. You can choose from your new or existing work sites. So this is stuff I already had in test. And then what you would do is you look up your SOC codes, and so you can put a keyword in here. And we understand that, not all SOC codes match up perfectly with whatever the title is that the employer has, so you can change the title. You can put in a description. You select what type of work experiences. Most of yours should be, work experience, but again, this is a tool that's going to go into global, big picture global WorkNet, and we'll be making it available for all of our partners. So right now it's in Epic, but eventually, well, in the next few weeks, it'll be available in Online WorkNet too. So that's why we have all these other employment types available. You can enter your hourly rates, the number of openings, and again, this will be used for the start and display, start date and ending date for displaying. That'll be used in a future application, but you can go ahead and enter that in, and if you'd like to enter it for the entire program, then you can do that. At this point in time, it's kind of a placeholder for building out this piece. And so when you finish it, then you will come to a listing of your employers and your work sites, and you can see it puts in the name that you changed it to for the title of the job. You can see the number of openings, number of positions that are filled, and you can mark them as either part-time or full-time. So for example, I'm going to add a person to this computer programmers AAA section. Let me go back down. Let's save. I'm going to go ahead and add customers. It gives me a list of customers that are available for me to select from. It's either name. I can change this if I would like. I can mark them as full-time or part-time. If they haven't started the position yet, then you can keep them as not started. Once they have moved into this position, you can change it as open, or you can go ahead and just set it as open. And then you'll be able to use this as successful and unsuccessful completion. And the reason why we're labeling these this way is because eventually this will populate the I-step. So for right now, you won't. It's not in the I-step, but that is coming down the road. So since I only had one position open for that particular job, you can see that now I have reached my maximum amount of people that are available, are opening spots that I could add for this particular employer and worksite, and you can see I can't add that customer anymore. So if I'm like, oh, darn it, that's not what I wanted to do. I put them at the wrong place. Not a problem. Let me go back and show you that again. You can see that for this full-time position, I have a 1 here, and it's a hyperlink. So I can select the hyperlink, a modal window opens, and I can see that person. I can either edit them, or I could just flat out remove them. When I remove them, my Add Customer link comes back. So that's how you add people to your work sites. You add work sites, and then you add people to your website work sites. Okay. Then the next piece that and this piece, the Worksite Placement, as I said, will come out tomorrow. And then next week, we will push out the Payroll Upload. So our programmers put this out on test today, so we've been testing it, and there are a few updates that need to be made to this. So once our programmer makes those updates to the payroll section, then we will make that available to you next week. So basically what you're going to do is you're going to click on Payroll, you're going to add Payroll, you're going to enter the start and end dates for your payroll period. So let's just start with this week. I'll make it for 2 weeks, I guess. And then you can download the template. The template is an Excel file. And let me move that back over here. It includes the organization name, the work site, this customer ID. You don't want to mess with the customer ID. Just leave it the way it is, because that's this ID right here is important because it makes it lets the system know that Johnny Cook is with this worksite, the Chicago site. Because Johnny Cook actually could be with a couple different work sites. So we need to be able to know specifically that this particular record is for this particular work site. So that information's right there, just don't change it. And then we have the other participant ID, which is what you're used to working with anyway. And then first name, last name, the last four of their SSN, the pay period, and then the hours worked. So one of the changes that the programmers will be doing is to populate the hourly wage into this Excel file. So all you have to do is upload or just type in the hours that they've worked. And then you would save this document to your computer. I already have several of them saved. Then you upload a payroll template, the one that you just saved. You can open it. Choose it, upload it, and it's going to tell me how many customers were in that file, what are the total wages, if there are any errors. So if I change that crazy number, or if I add somebody in there that's not in the system or do anything like that, it's going to tell me where the error is. And so I've asked our programmers to, put a little more extra helpful text in there. So if there is, if it's in line item 321, column K, then they can give us, a little bit more information as to why that came up with an error. You can view the payroll that was uploaded, or you could remove it if you wanted to change it. The other thing that you can do is if you have any other items that you need to upload with this document that would be helpful for Commerce to have, then you can do so. So you can upload a file. And you can put descriptive text in there and upload the document. And then you can, open the document. You can see when it was uploaded. Now, this will be, we're going to put what type of file types are accepted here. And it's basically your, Excel documents, Word documents, PDFs. And then you could submit the payroll. And then once that payroll has been submitted, then you'll see that we're going to update this a little bit so that you can see that it's submitted but not reviewed. And what that'll do is make the file available so that Tammy can go in here and can see all the different payrolls that have been submitted. So you can see this is the one, maybe I just did this just now, and you can see that it's not reviewed. Tammy could go in and review all your information and then approve it.
Hortensia, if you have a question, you can type it into the chat pod.
And one of the things to keep in mind in the payroll, when we review your payroll, we're going to look at what you have in the WorkNet system, and we're also going to compare it to what you've reported as far as your cost in the GRS. So under participant wages, the information that's reported as cost in the GRS will be the participant wages, and then your employer's share of your workman's comp and FICA. So, and if you have an insurance cost with that. So that's what will be the difference between what is on the payroll and WorkNet. So when I look at WorkNet and I add up your payroll and WorkNet, the only discrepancies or the only increase will be that is the employer's share that you're paying for under that line item. And if you have any payrolls, we do need you to, do this. We need you to go back and put in payrolls that you've already incurred also.
So what you can do starting tomorrow, and we'll get instructions out to you as well, but you can start going ahead and adding in your work site, your employers, and your work sites, and adding people to those work sites. And then early next week, then we'll be able to give you the payroll piece where you can, add payroll, enter in the pay periods, and download the payroll template. So, since we're doing, more catch-up type things right now with this, can they do like a larger span, or is there a preference on the pay period, start and end times?
I think I don't have an issue if you want to just do a catch-up file. That's fine, as long as we can correlate that with a trial balance and then also with your DGR. So basically, your total expenditures in WorkNet will equate to what you're actually putting in as expenditures in your GRS, and then we can tie that out to your trial balance.
Daryl's asking, can the payroll be done in test mode? And if you still have your test accounts from training, yes, please, by all means, go in and practice.
Well, you can, but remember that it's just been put out there, and so we will be changing it.
Yeah, you might want to wait until...
The programmers are still, working on it based on our feedback.
And the question regarding the payroll is for work experience. So it's anything you're paying out of your budget, and you are the employer of record. So with the work experience component, the CBO is the employer of record. So the only thing you're documenting here is what you are paying your clients for work experience. It does not deal with final placement afterwards, and we will have to, verify, income afterwards. But there's other resources we can go through IDES, and you'll have to verify placement and income after they're permanently placed. But that will be through, other resources. The work number is one that's used a lot, and IDES, wage data system, and then some other resources. I know that DHS is going to be requiring pay stubs as one of the valid methods. I don't believe that, in their regular E&T program that you can do any employer verification anymore. I believe, and I will double check this, but I believe what they're going to require is every pay stub from the client in their regular E&T program. So we're looking at methods of possibly doing that, and some of the things we're thinking is if the client can take a snapshot of their pay stub and just electronically send that to you and then upload it into the system, or if they can actually upload it themselves into the system for verification. And that's
what kind of screening tool, because we do have basically the application as a screening tool, but some of the things like they're talking about is they have, like they're just lying about some of their
Flores, do you mean
history.
like for reading and math, or do you mean for other things?
Some of the things that we've noticed or we've heard, feedback from observations is that, okay, so they have to complete a career and interest inventory, and I know that's not like the most perfect thing, but it at least kind of gives them an idea of some of the things that they might be interested in. But an observer said that they'd overheard, like, well, the person had TDL and health care, something like that. And basically the person said, well, what do you think I should do? Well, you kind of think, well, TDL is kind of different than health care. One's really working a lot with people. One may not be. Got a lot of alone time. But are there different, like, questions that they could ask when something comes up like that? Like, how would you handle that situation?
One of the things that we have to think about, though, and I know that this screening process can become very important, DHS maybe doesn't have as much time to
Right.
move people through. They're limited to like a 3.5-hour block, and they may have 10 or 12 people that they need to get through.
And so some of the other things that have come up in talking with some of the CBOs, or at least one of the CBOs, is that they have been getting people that basically are coming out as exempt. And, is there anything that you would notice, like right off the bat, that would be a red flag? That whether it's a health condition that would make them exempt. It's not saying that they can't participate, but there are some people that have been referred that it's a real struggle to get them, with the right services.
So, Mike, in the chat pod with the good referral, would you suggest doing the other sections of the career interest survey instead of just the one real quick one? Type it in the other chat pod, please. Thank you.
And this will be one of the topics when we have our training that we want to address too. And one of the reasons we would really like to get this so that we're training the CBO career navigators and the DHS staff together is just for this reason too. So we're all on the same page. And what we want to be able to accomplish with that is the referral process, what makes a good referral, and then engagement, client engagement. And we really want your content on this, what you guys are doing right now. That works for your programs now. I mean, that outside of EPIC, is there something, that you're using that seems to be working in how you're placing clients in specific programs and engaging them?
So, Emily, are you thinking about presenting to the DHS caseworkers or to the customers? Because the customers may or may not have interest in your programs.
Because another thing, one of the things that we discussed early on, and we haven't had an opportunity to get to it yet, was further building out the profiles for your training programs. So is there like additional information that we should be, asking the CBOs to add to that training profile that would be helpful to the DHS caseworkers?
And Emily, in response to your question, I just want to mention that this front part of EPIC, if it weren't for the random assignment and the study aspects, would have never probably been designed like this. Our evaluation team was very, very instrumental and very involved in how we designed this process for the purpose of the study. So what they wanted to do was make sure that, these clients are going into the DHS offices, and then they are being placed in the EPIC orientation if they show desire to be placed in it. And once they complete the EPIC orientation, and if they decide that they want to try and get into the EPIC group, then they're randomly assigned. So we have the core group and the treatment group. And they wanted to make sure that the core group and the treatment group have similar qualities, I guess you would say, but that also the core group does not, or the treatment group doesn't receive any information or guidance. So like they don't want the core group necessarily to know who the providers are. So that they don't go out and seek these services. So they don't want them to have any more additional information than they would have had otherwise. So like I said, the front part of this is not something that we would design for sustainability. This was designed for the program. Now, the intent, hopefully this will be something that can be sustained down the road. And then at that point, then we would interject the CBOs in the orientation process. And that is exactly the way it should be done. But the reason it's not is because of the study. So we have to provide as much information that we possibly can to the clients in the orientation part of it without giving them too much information so that they go out and seek those services on their own. So I hope that makes sense. So what we're trying to figure out is how far can we push this envelope? How much can we direct an individual in that orientation process to make sure we're getting them to the right spot without providing them too much information also.
So going back to in the regular chat pod, Judith has a new person who signed up for the ABE classes, but the instructor said it will be very difficult to engage in the vocational training. It's kind of like what Mike is saying. They're not qualified for the EPIC training, so they co-enrolled them with WIOA. So that's something that Judith may need to do is, so Judith, is the person's reading level that significantly low, or is it an ESL issue? And could it potentially be an issue where we work with two CBOs at one time to help the customer build that bridge better? Because the customer is going to have an issue no matter what if they can't read that well. And one of the things that we had initially, or had kind of discussed when we took the NOCTI out, was putting a basic reading where they read like 2 or 3 paragraphs and answer some questions based on what they read, and it would be a 5th or a 6th grade reading test basically, and then do the same thing with about 10 questions for math, just so that we kind of could know where they are. Is that something that might help?
And I do think you guys have been doing a tremendous job in working with these clients and trying to assist them, even if that's kind of outside of your box and of what you normally do. And that's, a direction we want to go with you guys, too. We've shaken DHS's process up quite a bit. Now looking at your processes, is what can work for these clients? They may not fit in your traditional mold of how you serve clients, but that's what we need to work towards is, what can we do with these clients to motivate, to get them in the right place. And if that means that, we need to look at your scope of works and look at your programs that you're offering, that's something we can do, too, in your grant agreements. If there's another program that maybe needs to be incorporated, then you just need to talk to me and we can take a look at that.
All right. Oh, I don't see anybody else typing any suggestions. Let's hide this pod. We'll keep it for future reference. Olivia, do you want to pull your screen up and over, and we'll look at the dashboard updates? By the way, if you have not added appointments, please make sure that they're added through the end of the year.
All right. Hi, everybody. It's Olivia. We're just going to go over a couple quick areas on the Enroll Dashboard and the iStep Dashboard to keep an eye on. There's only 3, I believe, on the Enroll Dashboard, and they're not too bad. The first one is the referral accepted and enrollment started, enrollment required. We have 11 customers total in this area that need to be marked as enrolled in a program. All you have to do is, if you have a customer that is showing in there, you just need to go into their progress page, and under training program enrollment, you just need to mark them as enrolled and the program they're enrolled in and click update. This is saving them a spot in that training program, so when it comes time to start the training, there will be a spot for them. If you wait to enroll customers closer to the training, you may end up having too many customers and not enough spots in that training program. So as soon as the services are initiated, we need to make sure we're getting those customers enrolled in that program. The second area that I would like you guys all to take a look at on your own dashboards is the CBO needs to upload past due. This is referring to the 2151A. Between the 1st and 5th of each month, we have you upload that with the previous month's progress. I know it's the 7th, and we lost a day because of Labor Day, so some of you might not have had time to get to that yet, but if you can, try to get to those as soon as possible so we can have last month's 2151As uploaded so we know which customers we need to follow up with and what's going on with everybody. And then the final area to keep an eye on is the exited status. Completion documentation needs uploaded. If you go into your dashboard and you have a 1 or a 2 here, go in and look at the red text and the exited information and see which documentation needs uploaded. I've talked to a couple people who were a little confused about what the red text meant exactly. So one of the questions that I run into the most is whenever a customer unsuccessfully completes a program, the red text will show that they need to update the 2151A with their completion box marked. So what that's talking about, it says marked as completed in parentheses. And so you're just going to want to go into the 2151A right here, and you're going to want to mark them as completed. Even though they have unsuccessfully completed the program, whether it be they moved, they declined to participate, they withdrew from the study, any of those reasons, they are finished with the program, so they are technically completed. So we need to make sure the 2151A is just showing that they're done with the program, and we don't need to keep looking for 2151A every month for them. So those are the 3 areas on the Enroll Dashboard. Now I want to go over the 3 areas on the iStep Dashboard. Well, actually, there's only 2 areas on the iStep Dashboard. So for the last 2 Wednesdays, I've had you guys work on selecting a target occupation for all of your customers. Between this Wednesday and last Wednesday, only 3 customers got a target occupation selected. I was hoping for some more, but 3 is the start. So if you guys can, please go in and make sure that we are selecting the target occupation for all of the customers that come through. 77% right now do not have a target occupation selected, and that is a piece of information that is on every single person's application, and you can easily obtain and incorporate in their iStep So we would really like the target occupation selected numbers to be higher than the not selected numbers. So for a third week in a row, I'm going to have you guys work on that again, and hopefully next week we will have more people with a selected occupation than not. And then the second area is in the same area, in the career planning area. We have 122 customers with no steps identified. If you have assigned any type of career planning task to any of the customers, you need to be going in and marking those on their iStep page. I'm sure that of these 122 customers, at least half of them have probably been assigned some kind of career planning task, and it just hasn't been marked in their iStep. We really need to make sure we're staying on top of identifying all the steps that we're assigning to the customers to complete those 20 hours every month. So if you have not went in and updated your iSteps to match your 2151 aids for the customers, try to go in and get those updated by next Wednesday. And that is all I have for the dashboard. Does anybody have any questions on anything that we went over?
I don't see anybody typing, Olivia.
I don't either. Okay, if you guys have any questions, just feel free to give me a call, and I will be reaching out to you guys here sometime this week or next week to try to kind of get this iSet dashboard cleaned up a little bit more and just make sure that everybody is going where we need them to go.
All right, we have a couple of people that wanted to know about different topics here in the questionnaire. What areas do you have questions about? If we have not answered your questions, please type them into the chat pod so that we can get those answered for you.
And I just want to have a real quick discussion on future webinars. One of the webinars we're going to have coming up once we get them scheduled, hopefully this month, is going to be an expert that deals with expungement and sealing of records. And I think this has been a topic that we've heard quite a bit come up to, with clients, being placed in, say, work experience or a job, and then they end up being let go because of some background checks that they had. So one of the things that we want to do is provide information, like I said, on the expungement and sealing of records, and that will be in the near future. But is there any other specific topics that you guys would like to have professional consulting on during a Wednesday webinar that you think would help in working with your clients, and what would those topics be? Because one of the things we want to transition this to is providing good information for you guys from expert resources. So what would those topics be? And if you can, if you want to type in the box here, just give us some ideas of what you feel would be beneficial for you in the upcoming webinars. Please include that in that box. Or if you don't have any suggestions, we'll come up with some too.
Yeah. Type them in the box that we just put in just so that we can have them all in one place. So we'll copy the ones that are already typed, but if you could type them in to the future webinar topics box, it would help us keep things all in one place.
Great, we're getting some people. Because like I said, once again, I mean, this EPIC project is going to drive future potential policy with SNAP E&T and how the programs work. And, our intention is that this is something that, will be sustained and, as we move along. So we want to make sure that we're doing our, very best to serve you guys, to serve these clients. And, obviously we have to think outside the box because, what has been happening in the past with, DHS and workforce hasn't really been effective with SNAP recipients. So. Yeah, money management, that's a real good one too, and I agree with that one, and the mental health ones. There's some really good topics here. So what we're going to do is reach out and bring the best experts to this field that we can provide to you guys with resources on these topics.
just to let you guys know, as far as money management goes, we have the whole MoneySmart series of training documents on Big Illinois WorkNet. And so what we can do is we can include a link to that for you. It'll take us a minute to find it, but we can include that link in the follow-up email to you guys just so that you have access to that. It was the whole spiel. I got it from the FDIC, and oh, look, she did it already. We uploaded each of the pieces. There's instructor guides. It was a whole big deal for us. Special needs clients, Daryl, do you mean like people that might have had IEPs in school? Okay.
Natasha, is that the screen? Do you want to pull that over so they can see that financial management?
Yeah, I can pull up Olivia's. Olivia, I'm bringing over your screen here. Let me move this over. Get in there. There we go.
I think we did a whole series of webinars on them as well. A lot of resources there.
Olivia, could you type in the link to that under the chat pod too, so they can have the link to that?
She did in the other chat pod.
Okay.
It's there, and we'll add it in the follow-up email.
Great. So there's resources, and so like I said, we'll get content experts for the areas that you guys feel are going to be beneficial for you guys serving these clients.
I think that's all we have for today. Just, again, one last chance for those
Do we have TAPS? Is that correct?
I think we had a miscommunication about the date.
Okay. Olivia had a number. I wasn't sure if...
Yeah, I think that was, I think we thought it was Friday, not today.
Okay.
I think she's on here if we want to do it today. Well, the purpose is to have for DHS staff so that they know, for the referral.
Yeah.
So just so those that are listening, so you know what we're talking about, we reached out to a couple of the CBOs, the ones that have some of the, higher enrollments currently, and just because we're making the assumption that they've had more opportunity to identify areas for that, potential areas where enhancement could be made with making referrals. And so what they're going to do is on Friday, and you're welcome to join, so please do join on Friday if you would like to chime in and offer some suggestions as well for helping, just providing some tips, any guidance, offering up any discussion on what could be, what we could think about as far as making tips for making good referrals to the CBOs. I think it'll be a really good discussion because we can hear both sides of it as, because, DHS, they have different constraints, time is one of them, is a huge one. And, they only have a limited amount of time, and what's the most bang for our buck that we could get for that amount of time that's spent. So, it's really coming together with the DHS caseworkers as well as the CBOs to say, okay, these are the areas where I'm having a lot of, challenges with placing these people, and, what are some resources that we could do? And the DHS staff may say, well, hey, we deal with these people all the time, and this is some of the resources that we would use. So it'll be interesting to see how that conversation goes back and forth, but we did ask a couple of the CBOs to participate with that conversation, and like I said, you're more than welcome to join in to that webinar and to listen or type in chat or participate however you'd like. So.
And I put the information into the chat pod. It's 10 a.m. on Friday, same phone number that you dialed into today if you dialed in, and the difference between the webinar is there is a TA at the end of the EPIC. All right, last call for questions. Hopefully we got everything answered for you today. Have a great rest of your day.
Thanks, everyone.